So this video is going to be about the UFC, a little bit of a different subject matter, but I think that Alexander Volkanovski's recent title fight performance was genuinely heroic. It was genuinely the stuff that you would see in the stories of heroes. And I think this because basically Volkanovski was already a legend, but he had been knocked out in October of 2024, or 2023. I'm thinking ahead. He came back in 2024, just 4 months later, got knocked out again by a guy who was much younger and much more powerful than him, this second knockout, and that just absolutely obliterated him. It took him out for over a year of competition, which was very smart to let his brain heal and reset. But he was 35, turning 36. That's the death knell for any athletic competitor in the modern age. I don't know if it's always been like this. Maybe it probably has, but once you're over 35, you're just slower, you're just worse at the lower weight classes where speed and skill are really at their peak. So any difference becomes very appreciable and has massive exponential upturns or downturns very quickly. So a 36-year-old featherweight, 145-pounder, is very much past his prime, not in his prime at all, coming off 2 knockout losses, former legend, former, however many time champion he was. This is the stuff where usually you end up seeing a guy get finished and taken out, because he was up against Diego Lopez, a guy 6 years younger than him, a 30-year-old man in his prime with a Green Day mullet, incredible power, incredible physicality, stalking, violent, nothing to lose. This guy was a monster, really a monster. And it was the type of fight that everyone loses. It was the type of fight that you're supposed to lose, because only 2 out of 30 plus champions at those lower weight classes have ever won a title fight over the age of 35, and it was retaining the title. It was never getting it back. Once you lose the title, it's gone for good at that age, unless you're a heavyweight or a light heavyweight. The no skill divisions, forgive me, I take it back. Okay, I take it back. But the less skilled divisions, let's put it lightly. Let's be nice to the big boys. The lesser skilled divisions than the 45, 55, 35 pounders who are just really in an absolute meat grinder of competing against youth and power. So Volkanovski finds himself against this youth and power. He is this aging warrior in the twilight of his career up against a guy whose physicality is overwhelming. And when the fight began, you saw a story that was marvelous play out. Round 1, Volkanovski mobs him, swamps him, beats him up, takes him down, 10-9, absolute victory. He won the round, no question. He kind of smoked Diego Lopez, and it was looking like, oh my God, Volk is back. It's like he hasn't missed a step. This guy is incredible. Round 2 begins, and it's tentative at first, and then it starts to be mostly the same story, a little less dominant. I can't remember if that's the round where he hit Lopez so hard that Lopez staggered backward and looked both ways at the crowd as he was staggering away. Incredibly cinematic, awesome moment. Lopez hits the cage with his back after looking each way, staggering away from Volk, tries to recenter himself, goes back in. Looks like Volkanovski's running away with the fight. It looks like the old dog did not. It looked like it was never knocked out twice at all. It looked like he was just himself. And then he got dropped. He got dropped out of nowhere, dropped fairly hard. And in his last fight, he got dropped very hard and put out. And it looked like Volkanovski, age had caught up to him. The world had caught up to him. The world swallows its heroes. This was just the end. This was just kind of it for him. Luckily, there was not that much time left in the round. He was able to recover, go back to his corner. But who knows how rocked he was. Who knows how much damage that knockdown actually took out of him. That was a huge moment for Diego Lopez. Massive moment. Volk probably still got the round because he was winning the whole round. But that moment at the end was not good when you get your bell rung and you're 36 years old. And you're up against a guy in his prime with huge punching power. And you could just tell every punch from Diego Lopez was hurting Volkanovski. And those are some of the best contests of willpower. When you can tell that one of the guys, every punch that he lands, it's causing significant damage. It's really hurting the other guy. And the other guy has more volume. Volkanovski has more volume, more consistency. He's able to land more, land better, but his punches just don't have the same impact. They're just not hurting this guy the way that Lopez can just hurt him. So the stakes are just so high. I mean, if Volkanovski had Lopez's power, Lopez would have been out cold. Like, he would not be able to take all of these shots. Volkanovski's landing too often and too well, but the power is on Lopez's side. So you start round 3 and you just wonder, is Volkanovski going to get battered? No, he's not. He wins round 3 clearly after getting dropped. As an older man, he comes back and he wins round 3 against this young lion. And it's just looking like he's going to win. Volkanovski is up 3 rounds. Okay, he got dropped, so be it. You're going into round 4. Volkanovski is in the lead. He's ahead. It's great. He's showing that he still has it. But, oh, and I forgot this detail in round 2. He starts bleeding badly under the eye. So Volkanovski's been landing harder more often, but he's the one visibly just like bleeding bad. He's got a black eye under his eye, and he's been dropped. So this is just him rallying and coming back and fighting through it. I mean, it's just bloody and grueling and ugly, but he's winning. He's taking all this damage and all these wounds, but he's still winning the fight, even though he's more visibly hurt. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful to see something like that, where the older guy with weaker physicality is more visibly hurt, but he's still just putting on the volume and landing more and more effectively and just winning the fight anyway. And then we get to round 4 when Volkanovski gets clipped by something that has him just running away. It's so wild. With 2 minutes left to go in round 4, Volkanovski gets hit with something that pretty much scrapes his eye, or like he can't see. He's like running away from Lopez for 2 minutes, just on the run, like looking like around, looking super worried, like tapping at his eye, like, oh my God, I can't see. I'm on the run from this guy. Lopez is stalking him. It looks like Volkanovski could get finished here, but the seconds tick on, and Volkanovski's recovering, and then things reset back to normal. Lopez couldn't chase him down and get that finish. Volkanovski got away. He got away with it. He escaped that moment that would have finished these lesser fighters. Like, Volkanovski is a one-of-a-kind Platinum Edition champion. This man is a legendary hero, because this is a moment that would have felled a lot of people, where he couldn't see. Between rounds, going into round 5, he told his corner, my vision is starting to come back. So he spent 2 minutes pretty much half blind, running away. Any punch landed clean would probably put him out. Like, it was desperate. And then we go into round 5, and Volkanovski just wins it. He wins round 5 very clearly. And so he wins the fight and wins his belt back, and he's the only fighter to ever win his belt back at the lower weight classes over the age of 35. He's coming back off of 2 very brutal knockout finishes. I mean, he did not have the same chin that he had. He was older. He was physically just like could take punishment less, but he took the punishment and won anyway. He's at the press conference with 2 black eyes. He looks much worse than Lopez physically. He's wearing the damage. He's not able to brush these things off. The punches hurt him. The damage stays on his face. And yet, he won the fight anyway. And he becomes a legendary figure because of that era of dominant champions. Usman is like pretty much no longer competing and on a 3-fight losing streak. Israel Adesanya was knocked out by a guy who, I mean, let's be honest, who was really that hyped about Nasruddin Imavov. I'm not. I would have rather seen Izzy, do something special, but Izzy is on a big losing streak of now getting finished twice in a row. Lost by decision against an unspectacular fighter. Sorry, Sean Strickland. Sorry, but lost by decision against an unspectacular fighter. And then finished by Dricus, who's a beast. And then knocked out by Imavov in just sort of oh yeah, that's what time does to you. And in this sport of MMA, there is just this certain, like, Greco-Roman fate thing going on where at 35 and above, if you're at a lower weight class, it just feels like the book is written on you and you're done and you can't win anymore and you're just past your prime. And Israel Adesanya is very much there. I don't know that he'll ever win a fight again, which is so surreal to say after how many title victories he had in a row. I don't know that he'll ever win a fight in the UFC again, to be honest. We saw it the worst with Tony Ferguson, who was just, oh my God, the downfall of Tony Ferguson. I mean, you could write a book about it. They should definitely write a book about it. is the most cataclysmic I've seen in the sport. I was too young for BJ Penn. God bless him with all he's going through. I mean, BJ Penn needs prayers. But to see in a sport that brutal and ugly and vicious and what it does to people, to see Volkanovski manage to do what he did at age 36, the age where it usually just goes down and never comes back up for anybody, and the fact that he took those punishing punches, those fight-ending punches, he was dropped, he had black eyes, and yet he still clearly won the fight by just outlanding Lopez and staying on him and just not letting these things get to him, just recomposing himself and fighting on. It's something that you see in heroic storytelling. It's the aged hero come back to fight the young warrior, the young strapping warrior in the village, and the old man comes back and has one last go at it, and the old man beats him, and the old man gets beat up in the process of beating him. That's what's so heroic and magical about it, is that it wasn't easy. It looked incredibly difficult. It looked like Volkanovski went through the ringer. Every part of him was punished brutally, and he still was victorious in a way that nobody has ever been victorious in the sport. Volk is a goat. Volk is just, it's the kind of stuff that people would write epic poems about. It just is, and it sounds cheesy and weird to say about just like a cage fighter in the modern era, but it really is. Every other great champion from his era who dominated their division is washed and out and no longer competitive at the title level. I mean, maybe Usman will come back and do something special, but I'm not holding my breath on that, really. Just because he's taken so much time off and his knees are very heavily damaged, so I think that that's probably caught up to him at an advanced age as well. I could eat my words. Usman could come back and do something wild, but I think probably not. Volkanovski is one of one. Alexander Volkanovski. Remember the name. Remember the name. Remember the namesake.